Welcome to another sunny allotment diary. We're actually having some nice weather for a change, which is rather nice. Obviously it's a good time to get down the allotment and get started and do some things. So I've come down here and I've been digging. I've started to raise a new path, and let's go and just show you that very quickly. I've dug out down here now, and you can see that I put the membrane down and I've put bark on top of it. I thought, rather than leave it bare soil and encourage weeds to grow, that's going to be a path anyway going down there. So I put a path all the way down here as I dig it, and that's just going to help stop the weeds coming back and getting control. The rest of it, as I dig areas, I'll get a lot of cardboard tomorrow from one of the local shops. I'll put cardboard down and just weigh it down with stones, and that can be composted and will break down quite naturally. As this is going to be raised beds anyway, the cardboard will help stop the weeds come up through the through the cardboard. So that is going to be quite useful. Everything else though, it's starting to grow. Still no sign of life of the trees. I have scratched the stems, and they're alive. They're just obviously still sleeping. But saying that, whilst it's warm today, it's been very cold. I don't think the mist of frost is anywhere near past. So whilst a lot of my veg plants say, plant out outdoors, like this parsnip, it says plant outdoors February to May. I really don't think that planting it out without any protection is a good idea. So I do have cloches I can use, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant some carrots, radishes, spring onions, parsnips and turnips in my little square foot garden. You can see all this is it's all marked out. Now what I do have is I have these glass panels here that's left by the previous tenant. What I'm going to do is put them on top of this raised bed, and it will act as a mini greenhouse and help keep the soil warm. So that should help protect the seeds, and they should grow quite nicely. So we'll see what happens with that and see how it goes. So the square foot gardening, obviously plant things a certain number per square. Turnips are planted 9 per square foot, parsnips 16, carrots 16, spring onions 16, and radishes 16. So what I'm going to do is, I have my dibber. I will mark out the holes evenly spaced, so I'll mark 3 rows of 3 across there, 3 rows of 3, and then put a seed in each one. So I'm going to get these planted up and get them in the ground, and then water them in and cover them over. So I'll get on with that, and I'll talk to you when I'm done. I've almost finished planting here now with the turnips, parsnips, carrots, everything else. Just got the one set to do over there. Now, I mean, the square foot gardening is fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing some results with it. But I must admit, it's very, very difficult to plant from seed, because carrot seeds are tiny. They're really, really small, so it's very hard to get one and put it in the hole. The same with the spring onions and the turnips. And the problem is as well, is as a gardener, you're used to putting in a row of, say, carrots or spring onions, and you scatter the seeds in the row and then thin them later on. But with square foot gardening, you don't go through that thinning process. You plant an individual seed or seedling. So you only plant exactly what's going to grow in there. And it's very, very contrary, I think is the word, to what we're used to as gardeners. I mean, when you plant your carrots, do you put one seed, space it 1.5 inches or 2 inches, put down another seed? No, of course you don't. You scatter the seeds in there, and then as they grow, you pull up the baby ones and you eat those. So this is very, very different. And as I said, it feels almost wrong as a gardener to put one seed in. But when it comes up and it produces a solid carrot, yeah, it's going to be worthwhile. But at this stage, it just feels really, really peculiar. What I may do is I'm going to go and plant some of these in the polytunnels in a minute, and then I've got some spares and I can put them in another bed as well. But I think it's much easier to plant from seedlings than it is from actual seeds in a square foot garden. The seeds are just very small. It's very difficult to see them and see whether you got one in the right hole. I suppose if you've got some sort of seed planter, yeah, maybe it's okay, but when you've got sort of clod upper hands like me and you find it difficult to pick up one carrot seed, it's a bit trickier, but it's all good fun. We're getting there, and it'll be interesting to see how it comes up. I've just got the round carrots to plant over there, and then it's water it all in, cover it over, and this is done for now. And there's the seedlings planted in and covered over with that glass. So I know it's not ideal, but it's going to create a warm environment there, and there is still very much the risk of frost here. So what I need to do is I'll come down regularly, take the glass off when I'm down here, water them, make sure they're okay, and they should be fine. As I said, the problem is a raised bed doesn't particularly lend itself to a polytunnel unless you build one very specifically to go over it, which you can do, and I may well do that on one or two of the others. But I just wanted to sort of show you how basically you can make do, you can reuse things like this. I think these are an old shower cubicle. You can find those for free, no trouble at all. People want to get rid of them, and if you say I'll come take the glass off your hands, or the plastic as this may be, yeah, people will bite your arm off to get rid of it. So there's plenty of opportunities for you to get the stuff you want for free and put it on, use it on your allotment. So have a think about what you can do. Like I said, we've got that going. I'm going to have a think about what I'm going to plant next as well. I think I'm going to put some broccoli over in the polytunnel, and that should hopefully look quite nice once that's done as well. And before we finish for the day, a quick check in the polytunnel. Cauliflowers are coming up. I'm going to leave them uncovered now because you can see a couple of them are shrivelling and going funny, which I think is because they're getting too warm in there. The leeks, little sign there of the leek, so fingers crossed they're going to appear under another tray with broccoli, celery and tomatoes in. So I'll keep those covered till they start to sprout, and then I'll uncover them. So these are all looking promising. Once those get slightly bigger, I'll put them into separate pots and obviously keep them in here. Then I can harden them off and eventually plant them out. But I'm just going to get the tomatoes in there, and then I think I'm done for the day. So good progress has been made. Let me know how you're getting on with your garden. What are you planting anything yet? Any tips for avoiding the frost? And I'll look forward to hearing from you.